Title music.
Title music dance time. Chris, if you put that in, I swear to God. Welcome, one and all, to World in a Jar. We are your hosts, Kyoko and Vale. Our goal is to take a word, concept, or idea and spin it into a story. Be it a character, NPC, group, city, you name it. And thus, those ideas we create become our World in a Jar. Of course, they won't all fit in the same jar, so our selection is constantly growing every week. With many spices to choose from, locations, genres, heroes, villains, and tropes, we hope to give you a jar filled with fun and interesting concepts. But first, how you doing, Vale?
I'm doing great. I am feeling good. I'm ready to put some worlds in jars.
Heck yeah.
How are you doing?
Same. I'm doing good. I had work this morning. It's snowing outside. So that was fun. Getting home today. My shoes were soaked. I wore the wrong shoes for today.
I don't really have good boots despite living in a snow-ridden state. So I'm just always raw dog in the snow with sneakers.
Yeah, I have boots, but I didn't wear them this morning because, like, it didn't start snowing until after I left the house. And I was like, oh, like, it doesn't look that bad. The percentages for my area aren't really bad. And then it was like a blizzard outside.
Fortunately, it didn't start snowing here until I got back to my house.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, what are we doing today?
It started snowing at like 7.
Oh, sorry.
Well, oh, you're good. No, we're fine. What we're doing today is something a little different topic-wise than what we've been doing before. Our plan today is to take man's best friend, the D12, and roll what class we're building today. This is excluding Bard and Paladin, as we've already created Bards and Paladins. We're gonna see how this goes.
I told Kyoko they had to shut up about Bards for once, and Kyoko told me I had to shut up about Paladins for once.
That's not going to stop me from multi-classing something. You can't stop
Oh my god, let's get Warlock so we can do a Warlock Bard and a Warlock Paladin.
Oh, let's go. Who says I can't make an Artificer Bard? A Bardificer. So, we're skipping the inspiration this time, as since it's a random class, we don't really have anything to go on so far. We might mention one or two, but let's see how this goes. So are we just going off of our subjects list?
Yeah, we'll go off our subjects list. One is monk.
We're also skipping barbarian, as we're saving that for editor Chris.
Oh, then we actually only need a D10.
Oh, a D10? Alright, let me get back in the bag. And by bag, I mean the dice bag I crocheted. I don't want to use that D10. Oh, okay. We're using the D10 that I used for Mithra. Alright. You ready?
Yeah.
Whoa. That's a 1.
I think that means it's Cleric.
Ooh, I was thinking about clerics today, actually.
Were you thinking about Cleric Bards?
I mean, a cleric bard is possible. But no, I was thinking about my one and only inspiration, or my one and only real example of a cleric. I've never played a cleric before. But I mean, like, other than Falazure. That's your route. I was thinking of my... Oh, go ahead.
Falazure. It's a very fun cleric, but, like, not a traditional healer cleric. He's a damage cleric.
Yeah. No, I was thinking of my friend Ian's cleric, Lorik. Lorik was the cleric in the campaign I played Mithra in, And he didn't play healer, really. Healer wasn't his main function, but he did function as support. When Mithra was there, as Mithra was the party healer, through and through. Lorik played support, he played tank, or he played, like, distraction. Like, in one of our final fights, he cast, what was it? He cast plane shift, or banishment, or something, on 4 enemy wizards we were fighting, and he was just like, okay, you all handle the god. I will keep these away until, like, I can no longer do that. Or in the final fight, he had concentration up on anti-magic field, like, the entire fight. Yeah, and that's, like, all he did to make sure that our melee fighters would be okay. And then he's like, okay, Mithra, you handle you handle healing our spellcasters. Like, that's on you. But he was also, like, Mithra's #1 support. He was like, if you think Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls, he had that sort of, like,
I love Grunkle Stan.
energy. It was so good. He was the party dad. It was so good. Like, Mithra was the party mom, Lorik was the party dad. It all worked out. But, like, when I think cleric, I think Lorik. And he was a forge cleric.
Forge clerics are really good. I've only played cleric once, and it was Falazare, and now he's multi-classing into necromancer because he's a death domain cleric. But I love everything that clerics get to do, especially when they're not relegated to being healers, because they have an incredible array of spells beyond just being healers.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, even at first level, they've got command, guiding bolt.
We know I love guiding bolt.
We all love guiding bolt.
Technically, Aster was a cleric. Technically.
Aster was a cleric insofar as other arcane tricksters are wizards.
Yeah. On a technicality, Aster was a cleric. But I am excited to make a cleric. I've been wanting to play a Twilight Domain cleric because I don't, like, see really anything about Twilight Domain.
You don't see much about it because everyone was like, oh my god, this is so overpowered. And then they just decided not to do anything with it. It's busted.
Oh my god.
It is pretty jank. In a good way.
I am excited. I've seen some really good art inspiration for Twilight Domain clerics, and now I really want to play one. And I need to figure out one that's not, like, a healer. Because, I mean, like, I could just play a healer cleric. I love playing support characters. But I want to see what all a cleric can really do.
I think that, like, each domain of cleric is just they're so diverse among each other. If you wanted to play a cleric that's really good at, like, skills, you pick a knowledge domain cleric. If you wanted to pick a cleric with wizard energy, you go Arcana domain.
Oh god.
And then
yeah. Like, if you want to play a healer, life domain. If you want to play a necromancer, death domain. If you want to be a murder hobo, war domain.
I really want to play a light domain cleric. They're the clerics that get flaming sphere, scorching ray, fireball, wall of fire. They're like
fireball.
So, like, if a cleric wants to deal damage. Oh, thank you for the Pitbull reference.
Mr. Worldwide. Yeah, like, clerics can be so versatile. And, like, yeah, I understand that some people might be put off from playing cleric because of their religious affiliations. But you can, I feel like, by working with your DM, there's a way where you can spin cleric to not sort of be like, as religious, or like if someone has like religious trauma, talk to your DM.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's a way you can work out still playing the class and enjoying the class without there being super heavy religious connotations around it.
Mhm.
Like, Lorik wasn't religious. Lorik wanted, his number one goal was to kill the gods. Like, he was a cleric because, like, he didn't mind Onatar. He didn't mind the, like, Forge god. And that was it. Like, we we handled Umberly. He actively wanted to fist fight Celestian, Paladin, Tyr, all of these other gods. He, like, Lorik, straight up, the number one goal he had for most of the campaign was to kill the gods. He died and won a chess match against one of the gods for his fucking life back. Like, this man died like 3 times, and he's like, they're not getting their hands on me.
Man, this man's playing 4D chess
like,
against
oh
the
my
gods.
Yeah, he played chess for his life and our Avariel's wings back. I was just like, our Avariel's memories back. I was just like, what is this? This is wild.
Oh man, saying 4D chess reminds me that there is a game on Steam called 4D Chess with Multiverse Time Travel. And it's wild.
Fucking wild. That sounds wild. Like, my brain hurts just thinking about that. Fleming tried to teach me chess in high school, could not get my head around it. Like, I would sit there and play a game of chess against him, and he would just be like, Kyoko, all of these moves are predictable. And I'm like, yeah, I may know what all the pieces do. Do I know tactics and stuff like that? Absolutely not. And this is why my secondary favorite class is Barbarian. I don't have to think to hit things.
Barbarian is so good.
And I can multi-class into Bardbarian if I want to.
We really got to get Chris on the show so we can talk about barbarians.
Absolutely. I can talk about the Barbarian I'm playing in the campaign he's DMing.
Ooh.
But, are you ready to make a cleric?
Yeah, I'm ready to make a cleric. As soon as I find the random word generator. Okay, who's going first?
I'm not gonna say this episode. Do you want heads or tails?
Heads.
Alright.
Hello?
Oh, I actually caught it. Tails!
Okay.
I get to go first. Second episode in a row.
Your words are army and sigh.
Sigh as in, like, to sigh?
Yes.
Okay. So,
not
easy answer with army is war domain.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna do that.
Ooh, we should add that to the bingo card. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to do war domain. Army. Could do peace domain or order domain.
I mean, with army and sigh, I think about like someone that's done time in the army and just didn't enjoy it and left.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that makes me think. Now I'm thinking about a mopey cleric.
Just, it's Larry from Pokemon. My boss gives me too much work. I'll do it.
He served in 3 armies at the same time, and he's just perpetually tired.
Larry would. Not by choice, but he would. Oh, cheers to Larry.
Oh, you gotta love him.
Oh, I love Larry. I love him so much.
He could beat Giovanni in a fight.
He's so real. he would beat Giovanni in a fist fight. Giovanni would beat him in a Pokemon battle.
I actually honestly think the opposite, where Larry would beat Giovanni in a Pokemon battle, but like Larry is just prime for Giovanni to mug him.
Giovanni would mug him, but if it was like a one-on-one fight, like actually like Larry was aware that it was a fight, I think Larry would throw down. But that's a conversation for another time.
The Pokemon episode.
Exactly. Stay tuned. Gosh. Honestly, my brain is thinking either what's the difference between Grave Domain and Death Domain? I'm looking at D&D Beyond and it says Grave Domain. There's no Death Domain on here.
Death Domain is in the DMG. Grave Domain is about venerating the dead. Grave Domain is more about the undead.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of gods.
Because what I was...
A lot of gods of death are
ahead.
not Death Domain. They venerate death rather than undeath. So that's why the Grave Domain exists.
Yeah, because I see things on here like it says deities of the grave include Kalemvor, Ouijas, the ancestral spirits of the Undying Court, Hades, Anubis, and Osiris. People like that.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was thinking going Grave Domain, and it's someone who handles removing bodies from the battleground to bring home.
It's like an army chaplain.
Yeah. Like army chaplain, or even like a coroner, somebody like that handles like processing the dead. Like doesn't handle like with death itself, but they sort of like, if you think oh god, then I'm blanking on the name. Who is the courier of the dead? The boat's person on the river.
Oh,
the
Charon.
boat person on the river Styx. Charon, yeah. Sort of like a Charon type figure. This is just me getting back into my Greek mythology shtick. Like, in this world, if Hades is like one of the deities, I feel like they would probably worship Hades. Sort of like the watcher of the dead, the caretaker of the dead. Things like that. And like with Sai, like this isn't an easy job. Like pulling bodies from the battleground, or even like recovering dead heroes' bodies from around the world. Like, this isn't a job for the weak of heart. This isn't a job for those that aren't intimately like aware of death and dying. So like this person, they're sort of like resigned to their job at this point. I say like maybe they're like a person who has been doing this for a long time, and like in this world they've seen heroes come and heroes go, and this like overlying problem in the world that they inhabit like has not stopped, like has not been defeated. There have not been a group of heroes who have been able to stop this threat, this overlying threat. So they've just watched heroes leave like kingdoms and like hometowns and things like that, and the only reason they've seen them return is because they're the ones to they're the one to retrieve the body.
This is such a wired character concept. This is awesome.
Mark the bingo card. Kyoko inspires Vale.
I might play this 3 Kyoko campaigns from now.
But I want to play this character. I want to play this heavily resigned coroner of dead heroes.
Well,
who ends up potentially becoming a hero themselves.
if I ever think of like the 4 Elements Past campaign, definitely fits.
Mhm.
Absolutely fits.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I really love this because
it's like
it opens up the ability to like they visit some town and their clerical order puts them on a mission to retrieve bodies from a dungeon that adventurers were exploring and never came out of. It also makes me think of what was it called? It was the taxi in Cyberpunk 2077, where you go on this huge big job taking on the corporation and taking like a weapon of mass destruction from under their nose, allegedly. Well, taking a weapon from one corporation and then using it to infiltrate Arasaka and steal something of great importance from them.
Yeah.
And so you are...
I've never played Cyberpunk, so I can't help you recall the name.
And so you're taxied discreetly to this hotel that the thing is being guarded in. And it was like a sentient AI taxi that had like a personality and everything. It had its own quest later on. But one of the things in your package was a burial package where if you died in this taxi, it would take you to your loved ones.
Ooh.
That's some of the energy that I was thinking of. And it's also like horrifying that this taxi has this ability.
Yeah. Like, when you choose this domain at level 1, when you choose Grave Domain, it says the feature is called Circle of Mortality. It says at first level you gain the ability to manipulate the line between life and death. When you would normally roll 1 or more dice to restore hit points with a spell to a creature at 0 HP, you instead use the highest number possible for each dice.
Ooh.
Or for each die. In addition, you learn the Spare the Dying cantrip, which doesn't count against the number of cleric cantrips you know. For you, it has a range of 30 feet, and you can cast it as a bonus action.
Okay. Tangents all the way around. Mark your bingo card. I was arguing with my friends about a homebrew I found in a Facebook group about... It was basically a 1 HP cantrip that you would use as an action on someone that was stabilized. And my friends thought it was really broken, and until I realized Grave Domains can cast Spare the Dying 30 feet away as a bonus action, I didn't realize how overpowered that really would be. Because you could just one turn pick someone up without having to healing word them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grave Domain is so cool. Tangent over.
Yeah, so like we have this Grave Domain cleric, like maybe it's like a domain that like their family has always worked in or something like that, or it's really like just it was like maybe their last option of things that they felt like they could do with their life or something like that, or like maybe the like Temple of Hades gave them like sort of almost gave them purpose in life. And it's not really like it's not really like how we think of worshiping God, like capital G God in like Christianity. It's more like how they worshipped gods, like lowercase g gods in, like, if you think Greek mythology, like sacrifices, thinking of the god when doing things, like holding a space for the god and not holding like contempt for the god, especially for Hades. Hades was a god that like lots of people were terrified of because he's king of the underworld. When really, in reality, they should have been more scared of Persephone. but um but it's like Hades was a god that like people kept in their thoughts or like didn't really talk about because who wants to speak of death. So it's just maybe like this cleric was sort of like at the end of their rope, really, not really like able to like find what they wanted to do and things like that, or maybe like it was a physical illness, something like that. And the Temple of Hades, as their cleric, as Hades' cleric, gave them a new lease on life, so to speak.
Is he like cynical because he's just retrieving all these dead heroes, or?
I imagine so. I imagine like that they would be fairly cynical, especially like maybe they hang around the Adventurers Guild because they're the one to go retrieve heroes. So like they hear all of the stories of heroes going in and out, or like they're told stories and they're just like, oh great, another body to go retrieve in like 2-3 weeks.
And of course
it's like, let's see how far they go this time.
And of course not a few of these retrievals happen to take them right to the boss of the dungeon. where they have to they may have to challenge, of course, with the adventuring party, because this is a player character.
Oh yeah, like they might go out like with these parties and like they might be like the only one left, or like they'll go out like on hire afterward, like someone hires them like, oh please go retrieve my child's body or something like that, or my friend's body, like, or like please go like see if my friend is alive. And like they go out with like a recent party and they're just like, oh, this is gonna end up like how it always is, like I'm gonna have to take home the body of the previous heroes and then take home the body of these heroes, and it's just gonna be a big hassle. It's like I'm gonna have to process more bodies and like write more obituaries and things like that, and it's just
then there could also
could
also be moments where he's sent to retrieve a body because no one's heard from it or heard from them, and they're not dead, they're just camping out in the dungeon because they can't progress. That would be interesting too. There's so many ways you can spin quests for this character.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, especially if it's like in a longer campaign, this character could definitely be like, he goes out with the party and like they're anticipating having to bring these bodies home, or like, and anticipating having to bring home the previous party home. And they get to like the first dungeon or something and they see the previous party now undead. Like they're undead and they're just like, oh god. More paperwork. Thanks.
I can imagine though a very cynical character being shaken if they found like a party that's camping out and very much alive, only for both parties to come at this dungeon and like these other party members dying. Like that I feel like could even shake a cynical death priest.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, like, oh, this I feel like would be really fun. It would be like really good in my favorite thing, roleplay situations. Like, especially if they joined a party to go out to retrieve these bodies and the party didn't know their job, really. Like, the party is just like, oh, you're a grave domain cleric? Cool. Keep us alive. Like, keep us alive in the way you can that's not a life cleric. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. I'll do my best. It's up to you to keep yourself alive. Like, what the hell? And then they get there, and now they're responsible for 2 parties. And then one of the parties dies? Oof. Like, that's a one-way ticket to Survivor's Guild.
Absolutely. There's just so many ways you could put story into this character. This is just so wired. I appreciate it so much.
Like I can even imagine Sai being like a sigh of relief when they don't have to bring somebody home.
A lot of
dead.
his character is portrayed by how they sigh.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, do they sigh a sigh of relief? Do they sigh a sigh of resignment? Of like resignation.
That's
the
their
word.
verbal tick.
Yeah, just as a person who sighs a lot, I get it. I totally get it. But that's where I think I'm gonna leave them. I've been rambling on about them.
I've got a scheme of 4 Elements past campaign for this character. I wasn't really serious about it until this would make so much sense for that campaign.
Oh, but do I play Aster or do I play that character? Who knows? Or do I play both? Because Aster could be anything.
Aster could be. Yeah, because that's the thing. Aster doesn't have to be the class that Aster is. Aster could be whatever he wants to be.
Exactly. Just multiple characters named Aster McLean.
And Muse doesn't even like do first, second, third, fourth. It's just always the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the theory.
I love it.
That Keanu Reeves is a vampire. You've seen those pictures, right? So there's just one. There's these massive portraits of this one specific tiefling throughout the ages.
I love it. Yes.
I gotta write that down.
But yeah,
write that down as a note.
That's where. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've written it down with the really cute pink bunny pen I'm using. But are you ready for your words?
Yes, I am ready for my words.
I'm not giving you your words. You're giving yourself your own.
Let me gather my words.
Let me gather my things.
Ooh, there's a lot of ways I could take this. My words are suspect and save.
Ooh.
Man, I made a criminal wizard. Suspect makes me think of criminal cleric.
It's just Ivor's rival. It's Ivor's wife.
Oh my god, she's alive?
Who knows? There's like one clear way you could go with suspect, trickery domain, but do you want to do that?
I don't particularly enjoy the trickery domain, but what I'm thinking is it's like probably the more religious side of cleric, where they're trying to absolve criminals of their felonious lives. Because like suspect and save makes me think that they are redeeming these people. But honestly, I already have a character like that. I think I got to take it a different way. Otherwise, I'm going to put too much revengealist into this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, it really makes sense for redeeming people. And then I'm like, Oath of Redemption is a paladin, not a cleric.
That would more... For redemption, my brain says like peace domain. Like helping someone be at peace with themselves. Or having helping someone find peace within themselves. And that works with, like, saving someone, too. Saving something.
Let me look at the cleric domain.
What are the features of peace domain? The balm of peace thrives at the heart of healthy communities between friendly nations and in the souls of the kind-hearted. The gods of peace inspire people of all sorts to resolve conflict and to stand up against those forces that try to prevent peace from flourishing. See the peace deities table for a list of some of the gods associated with this domain. As I read off the very first paragraph on D&D Beyond about peace domain.
Okay,
clerics.
hear me out.
Mm.
Suspect and save also kind of makes me think of a
Yes.
vigilante.
Ooh,
So that
yeah.
they are not using the law to save and bolster the lives of others. They are going against the law to protect and redeem criminals, or protect the common people and maybe redeem the criminals at the same time. So honestly, if Batman was a cleric, I'm thinking, and I think
God.
there would be a really
Cleric Batman.
I think there would be a really cool knowledge cleric.
Ooh, interesting.
So like
I like
the
it.
knowledge cleric, knowledge cleric doesn't work the same way I thought it would. Where they do get expertise, but only in 2 skills that they gain proficiency in: Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion. Because I was thinking of like Investigator.
Oh yeah, you were thinking they would get like expertise like rogues and bards.
Yeah,
do.
but it's specifically for the knowledge skills.
Boring. Okay, not boring, but like boring in this sense. Boring in the sense that it's not working like the way you want it to.
But still, like a knowledge cleric gets a lot of free divination spells that they can cast.
Yeah.
So, like, Batman has cameras everywhere or whatever. This knowledge domain has like divinations everywhere. He's got an arcane eye patrolling Gotham. He's got like gods that whisper to him and tell him, this is going on right now, you should go save him.
Yeah. Honestly, knowledge or even like light domain might work. Because like what doesn't the light touch? The shadows. The criminals.
But when I think of light domain, I think he's blowing up criminals with fireball. They're blowing up criminals with fireball. Not exactly the most Batman thing.
That's valid. That's so valid. But yeah, knowledge domain, that sounds really interesting. I haven't seen a lot of knowledge domain clerics.
They're kind of rare.
Because like if people want to be like a skill junkie, they go bard or rogue.
Honestly, I feel like Falazure goes a little bit into knowledge domain because all of his skills, since he was the god of secrets before he was reborn, all of his skills are knowledge skills. And that's the exact skills that knowledge clerics get expertise in.
Yeah.
But also they do have interesting potential with their channel divinity. As an action, you choose one skill or tool. For 10 minutes, you have proficiency with the chosen skill or tool.
Oh, that's cool.
Just as a channel divinity.
Yeah, so you almost get like a jack of all trades sort of thing. With all that.
If for some reason,
except you get full proficiency with the skill.
If for some reason this cleric is not proficient with a healer's kit, someone goes down and someone says, "Is anyone the healer?" And they just touch a healer's kit and they go, "I am," and attend to the wounded.
Is there a doctor on board? I have a PhD. Does that count? I want to make that. I want to be able to make that joke
I
one day.
can be a doctor for 10 minutes.
Hang on, let me take this online test and I'll tell you if I'm a doctor or not. Yeah, like they could literally fill any role for 10 minutes.
And isn't that
Isn't
that what Batman is too? He's just an everyman.
Exactly.
His power is his mind and his wealth, equipping him with any tool and any proficiency and any strategy he needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy is a little bit like Batman in that he's a vigilante trying to work between the law and criminals to protect the city, but also is trying to redeem these criminals. And that's also a classic Batman trope of why doesn't he just kill the Joker? Because he doesn't have lethal threat in him. It's not his MO.
Yeah. It's like, why does he keep sending Joker to Arkham Asylum? Because asylums can rehabilitate people. It's just they can't. Arkham Asylum just sucks, for one, and for two, the Joker does not want to be rehabilitated.
He's always seen as so dark and brooding, but he does want to see the best in people. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like, he wouldn't have taken in Robin, like Dick Grayson, if he didn't like want the best for him.
And it also stands out to me when one of the catalyst episode of Justice League for Justice League Doom was he was recording basically contingency plans if any of the superheroes in the Justice League went rogue and betrayed the values of the Justice League, and included his own contingencies where if he went rogue, this is how you take him down.
Yeah, he kept himself accountable in that. Yeah, like, Knowledge Domain also gets a bunch of features that, like, really help with sort of, like, investigator sort of thing, like Private Eye. Like, their other channel divinity is Read Thoughts.
Yeah, 6th level Read Thoughts.
Yeah, and then that, like, they also get Suggestion just in that, which is cool. Visions of the Past is super helpful. Like, at 17th level, I know it's 17th level, but, like, super, super helpful when, like, trying to investigate something. It's like, oh, I need the immediate, like, past play-by-play. Here you go.
I wish that ability was more Cleric, was available to more characters than just Knowledge Domain Cleric. Because it's really cool to be able to cast a spell and like see scenes that happened in a room you're reading your area reading about, or like see the great moments of a weapon's life as you're doing object reading.
Yeah, honestly.
But this is
like, that'd be really cool.
This is such like an interesting mastermind vigilante. I've been going on
100%.
I've been going on about Batman a lot. I haven't really been developing the character.
Build the character, Vale, not Batman.
Yeah.
We have enough Batman.
Oh, we have a lot of Batman. What kind of backstory do I give this character? I think, honestly, this character is very learned. They probably went into criminology and start. Like, a cleric doesn't just have to be a holy person. A cleric can still like go to school and learn stuff almost like a wizard. That especially pertains to their domain even. So I think this character was studying criminology and was also is also penitent and gains powers from a deity. Definitely a god of knowledge. And criminology is not like the study of crime, but the study of criminals and like the psychology of criminals.
Yeah.
And that's what they are very knowledgeable about. They probably don't have a tragic past.
Probably. Who knows?
I mean, their parents are rich. How can they have a tragic past? Rich enough to rich enough to put them through criminology.
Oh yeah, rich enough to support them through criminology school, through majoring in criminology. Oh my god, it's Spencer Reed from Criminal Minds. My favorite character.
And so then they used their knowledge of like the psychology of crime and like the sociology of crime as well to gain an ideal that crime can be stopped and criminals can be helped, but also with the holy power of the gods, making sure the common people don't come between the criminals and redemption.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. Like you could even spin it to where this character is still a student. They're still learning.
And
they're still gaining knowledge.
That gives interesting roleplay moments because they go to school when they're being particularly troubled by a villain, and then their teacher is like, well, you got to think this way. You got to get into the mind of this person and understand why they're doing what they're doing and how they're doing what they're doing. And once you understand how and why, you can beat them. You can crack their code.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like once you understand their thought process, you can then use that to really get them.
So yeah, still being in school is a very easy way to add more character moments, add more NPCs that are important to the character.
Oh yeah. And it also like helps you, especially if you start from like level 1 or even just like a low level in a campaign playing this character, it still gives you a lot of room to grow because one of their character moments could be finishing school. Or like even like losing their mentor or like their advisor or something, or like getting kicked out of school for something, having to take like a leave of absence, things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's where I can leave it until the trope.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you all for trope time. Trope time.
Yeah, trope time. Are we doing heads or tails on this one?
Yeah, would you like heads or tails?
I'll go with tails.
It hit my mic arm. It's heads! I get to go first again! Wow!
I'm wondering if this is a pertinent trope at all. It's called add dissonance. Like add AD.
Okay, yeah.
Happy families frolicking on a beach as a cute little jingle plays in the background. Grinning supermodels moodily discussing how wonderful the product is. A cheerful paternal sounding announcer going on about how its makers are dedicated to improving your life. It seems like a normal saccharine sweet ad. Until, of course, we zoom out to see it playing on a flickering TV in the middle of a war zone, displayed on a rotting billboard in a ghost city, or being beamed into the minds of some grim dystopia's residents.
Interesting.
Do you think it works? Should we get another one, or?
I can make it work, but it would kind of be a stretch. Yeah, if we could re-roll.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, we've re-rolled into something really good for your character.
Yes.
Quaking with fear.
Ooh. Perfect. We all know what quaking with fear is.
Yeah, I don't have to read this.
No. So, the question thus forth is it my cleric quaking with fear? Or is it society around him quaking with fear? Sort of like, I was thinking, instead of him being, I mean, he could still, like, be a cleric of Hades, but instead of working under Hades, he works under Thanatos, the god of death.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, he could, like, work with Thanatos, or people might even see him as Thanatos incarnate, as he brings the dead home. They could see him as Thanatos, Charon, anything. Dealing with
the game Hades has ruined all of these names. I just think of all of these as sweet beans, except Hades.
See, it's weird because I think of overly sarcastic depictions of these characters all the time, or I think of, just the fact that I've been so interested in Greek mythology my whole life, and I think of, like, God of War, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
So it could be like people quake in fear upon seeing him because they're just like, or seeing them because they're just like, oh gosh, if they're out and about, that means they're bringing someone's, like, loved one home. They're bringing someone back and confirming that that person's dead.
Mm-hmm. And that's something the military does as well, and it's never easy to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's just like people could be like wary of this cleric, or like even scared of this cleric, because it's just like, oh gosh, like, what it, like, could be like a superstition thing, like, oh, if I cross their path it's gonna curse me, like, I can never go out adventuring even though, like, I might want to, or something like that, because I'll die and they'll be the one bringing me home and it'll be their fault, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could even be them, like the cleric, quaking in fear over the reality that just, like, when they go on an adventure, they're just like, who's gonna bring me home? Or, like, am I gonna have to bring home my entire party, these people that, like, I have now, maybe in their mind, unfortunately formed a connection with?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I going to be ferrying their bodies home? Like, am I really going to be like this like harbinger of death for this party? Like, if I don't keep them safe and protected, if I don't make sure I'm doing my job of being their cleric, of being their support, then I'm going to fall back into the job that I've been so resigned into doing, that I've, like, had to do over and over and over. And of course, like, it's a job that needs done. It's a job that I can do. But now that I've come to, like, hold these people so near and dear to me, what do I do if I fail my mission? If I fail at my job of being their support? Do I fail my job as being this coroner, as being this ferryman of the dead? Or do I fail, like, which would I be more okay with failing? And this thought terrifies them.
Mm-hmm. This also makes me think of an anime I had watched. It only got one season. I wish it got more. It was called Grimgar Ashes and Illusions.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an isekai into a fantasy world, kind of. But partway through the series, the party's cleric is, spoiler alert, ruthlessly murdered by monsters and just like a random mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they conscript the help of another cleric whose entire party died under her watch.
Yeah.
And she starts out so jaded and stingy with healing.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately had the right idea where she has to save her heals for when they can be made the most use out of. Because if you're down 1 HP and the cleric heals you with a Cure Wounds, that's not really doing that much. But when you're 12 HP down, the cleric hits you with a Cure Wounds, they're doing a lot more to keep you in the fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so I really think of that jaded cleric aspect of like, I've seen entire parties fall, and I can understand where they went wrong, kind of.
Yeah.
But then also having the fear of it happening again to these people that I might have opened up to.
Yeah.
Told my traumatic backstory about all my party dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, especially if we go with the idea that this cleric sometimes goes out with parties, just in the off chance that they all die. Because no one has defeated the threat to this world yet. So this cleric has seen heroes come and go. Seen like people that they might have even been close to, like back home in their hometown or something, go out and try to be the hero and fail.
And that also makes me think of Yuna.
Oh, from Final Fantasy X, yeah.
Yeah, where like her entire quest people have done before and have been unable to actually defeat sin. And so she has this huge character moment with Yunalesca where she decides she's going to break the mold and actually defeat sin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there could be that moment for this cleric. There could be a moment like that for this cleric as well, where they're constantly picking up the dead bodies of the people that have been trying to slay this great evil, and then eventually deciding, I need to stop this evil.
Yeah, it's like, I need to be the one to go out.
There's too much tragedy and heartbreak in this world from this one singular entity.
Yeah.
We have to fix it now.
Exactly. It's like, I need to stop being this passive person in this who's just bringing home the dead. I need to be the one to stop the death. Or to delay the death. Things like that. It's like my god has given me this boon of my magic and also allowing me to stave off death to a certain degree. I need to go out and use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to run for this character. I have to run for this character.
Yay! Yeah, I love winning like this. This is a big win in my book. Every time I inspire you, it's a win in my book.
It cross that spot off twice.
Exactly. I'm nothing if not a good storyteller.
Absolutely.
But you are too, and I'm excited to hear what you do with your bat cleric. Your Batman cleric.
All right. What is this? I might have to re-roll this. I don't. So it's called Dame with a Case. Oh, this has to do with detectives.
Ooh.
A hard-boiled detective is loafing around behind his desk, waiting for something to happen. The impetus for getting the story going arrives in the form of a dame. Richly dressed and possibly something of a vamp, she cuts an impressive figure. She states to the private eye that she has a case for him. After the lady has explained the matter, the detective will probably be quick to get on the case. The two of them may end up working together on solving it, and romance might well ensue. But don't expect this dame to become the detective's girl Friday. There will be exceptions, but she will typically be a femme fatale, and may well know more about the case than she is letting on.
Ooh.
That now I have to develop this character that brings, so there's probably a string of crimes going on. Ugh. So hard not to use this. So hard not to use the sorcerer right now. Like a detective against the sorcerer.
I know nothing about the sorcerer, so you can't do anything. You can't say anything.
So this lady comes. There's like a lot of crimes that she thinks are connected. Comes to this cleric who is a vigilante trying to pursue justice, and this case is going to give them a run for their money.
Yeah. Like, this case puts them at their wits' end.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god.
It's almost
like, what if this case is their thesis? Like, it's
criminology.
Yeah, like, it's the case they need to solve to, like, graduate and make a name for themselves. Like, what if the dame with the case is their advisor?
Yeah. And so this advisor knows a lot more than they let on. Or than she lets on.
Yeah. It's like, what if their advisor is the one committing all these crimes?
Oh my god, the advisor did it.
Yeah. Like, the advisor is the one that orchestrates all these crimes and, like, commits all these crimes. And that's what your cleric has to solve.
A classic whodunit.
Yeah, exactly. A classic thing of the master is actually evil and the student has to overcome the master.
Yeah.
It's like in Sekiro, Wolf fighting his own master.
I was trying not to bring that up. I was going to be like, oh god, another tangent. I can definitely talk about that. I'm like, I've already had 2 tangents on this one character. I can't possibly talk about Sekiro at a time like this.
It's okay. We'll just mention it. We can talk about it on Twitter later.
Yeah.
We can talk about it on Twitter after this episode airs.
I just to finish this, I have written multiple essays on Wolf fighting his master. I've written multiple essays about how good that is.
Yeah. Oh.
To the chagrin of my Facebook audience. So what is the crime? And how does it stump the character? Well, because the character's not like necessarily studying crime, he's studying why people commit crimes. So like this criminology thesis is not solve this crime, but why is the person committing this crime?
Yeah.
And it would actually be kind of funny, since if they're trying to keep distance from actually solving the crime,
Mm-hmm.
and like they have this whole thought out explanation about why this crime is being committed, why this person chooses a life of crime, and then the teacher's just like, that's all well and good, that's a very well put thesis, you learned a lot, but this crime is just being committed for you to have a final exam. And the character's like, what? I've been the one committing these crimes.
The character's just like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And the
Or there could
advisor's
be,
like, you just answered why.
Or there could be like an Ace Attorney moment where the character does find out it's the teacher committing the crimes. The teacher goes up to the teacher during the final exam, and the teacher's like, "Okay, what crime were you researching, and why were they committing the crime?" And the kid's like, "I should be asking you the same question, criminal."
Exactly.
Oh
Oh,
man, look out for an episode where I get inspired by Ace Attorney.
look out for an episode where I start talking about Danganronpa to an
It's
unhealthy
in the
extent.
list. It's to a not healthy extent.
Oh, just wait until I get to talk about my favorite boy, Komaeda Nagito. I love him. He's crazy as hell, but I love him.
Damn, you crazy as hell.
Damn, boy, you crazy. I mean, you know what? I'm not showing her today. I'll show her when we talk about that episode. It's fine. I should have a second one that's perfect for that episode too later. But yes, that would be super interesting. And you, like, whoever runs this, like, wants to play this character, or whichever DM wants to pick up this sort of storyline, like, you could always go to where, like, you can always have, like, the advisor be, like, an actual criminal, and the cleric has to solve the case and then put the criminal away or kill the criminal, things like that, and or, like, rehabilitate them, things like that. Sort of like, you know, there's a bunch of media about this, like the Hunger Games, like, prequel novel, things like that, where the teacher is actually the evil one and corrupts the student, things like that. A bunch of stuff. Or you could run it to where, like, this is all, like, a controlled environment created by the school and the advisor to really test the students' limits and things like that, really get this cleric thinking on their feet, and maybe this cleric has to, like, consult with their god, something like that, to really, like, solve this case.
And then could also have the moment, because we've been talking about this knowledge cleric going outside of the law. So to investigate this, they are doing things that are against the law, and then the teacher might be in on that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because this character could definitely go the way of, like, student by day, vigilante by night.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. Like, maybe they started being a vigilante because their parents cut them off money-wise.
They have to they have to pay their bills now.
It's like, oh, I have to be an underground investigator? Ugh.
An undergrad investigator.
Oh my god, no. It's even worse if it's grad school. Chronically underpaid teacher's assistant. Or research assistant.
Absolutely.
God, I know that life all too well. As I fake cry. But, yeah, no, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah. And of course, this, like Dame with the Case, the picture is like Phineas and Ferb in a noir film.
Oh my god, yes.
And so I'm thinking, like, the noir aspect of this vigilante just chain smoking.
Actually smoking, using the candy cigarettes. Who knows?
But it is burning.
Yep. This shit's hot. Hot off the presses.
I still can't believe that someone let my friend bring a pack of gum that looked like cigarettes in elementary school.
Oh my god.
But I digress. But I think that might be a good place to leave this.
Yeah.
Or should I say, this might be a good place to seal up these jars and put them on the market.
Woo!
I don't have Where did the outro go?
Yep. So if you liked this show or need any ideas, you can always find us on Twitter at Worlds and Jars, or you can email us at worldinajar1@gmail.com. Vale, do you have any suggestions or anything?
Well, I suggest people mail in with their suggestion for an episode.
Yeah, we're always taking episode suggestions. Or even if you want to send us like inspiration that you have for like classes or ideas, things like that, go ahead and send them to us, or like retweet, quote, tweet something at us. We're always accepting suggestions and things like that.
Or just like give us an SOS. My world building has come to a halt. I need help.
Exactly. Like, we can always help with world building. We can help with character building. I love character building. Please let me help you with character building. But yeah, like, or if you want to like collab with us on creating something for your games, or just like a story or something like that, hit us up. You can even like comment on on one of our YouTube videos. We'll see it. We'll reply.
Comment on YouTube, email us, message us, or just add us on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as long as you're not Elon Musk, we will respond to an ad.
I'll respond to Elon, but it'll be in a way he does not want to be responded to. That's the barbarian.
We'll ratio the man himself.
L plus ratio plus bozo. Exactly. I'm gonna get you, Elon. That's the barbarian in me. I'm gonna get you. With words.
Begrudgingly working on his platform. Begrudgingly working on his platform.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll be our suggestion for the day.
So yeah. Or where did we leave off in the outro?
Do something good for yourself, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Do something good for yourself, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
This episode is edited by Chris at ChrisRogersVO on Twitter. Go check him out. He's trying to do more voice acting work too, so if you have any jobs for him, send them to him, please.
Nintendo, hire this man.
Exactly. Nintendo, hire this man. But, alright guys, we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.